network production. We are the #1 business show on the planet with over 1 million downloads a month. Taking the BS out of business for over 6 years and over 400 episodes. You ready to start snapping necks and cashing checks? Well, it starts right about now.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Right About Now here on Friday, May 16th. It is your weekly business news with Ryan and Chris Hansen down in Miami. What's up, Chris?
What's up, Ryan? How are you, bro?
I'm good. Taking the BS out of business, one story at a time. You know, you can pay attention, make yourself go crazy on CNN or Fox all week, or you just come to Right About Now and we break it down to what you really need to care about. Like no right, no left, just straight facts. The business cycle has been heavily related to the administration this week, given all of the tariff talk. We've been talking about it, and finally some actions happen. All the tariffs, this happened after our episode last week. Tariffs are on hold, deals are being had, and I think it's a good sign, Chris.
We're moving in the right direction. I'm happy to hear it, and I'm happy that if you look at the numbers, it's really a win for us. So
yeah, exactly. Stock market's been rocking and rolling. It likes the news. We're already surpassed where the downturn was when the tariff stuff started, tanking the market a few weeks ago. I think we've met back to the level and gone over and above it. And what really matters is XRP is up on the old crypto.
Yeah. What's the percentage you said it was up again?
It's up 20% the last week.
Yeah, I think everything for the most part is like 20, at least 15% up, 20% most fit between all the big players. So I still think it's a great time to invest in the market. There's a lot of runway to go based on a lot of the crypto experts and their predictions. It should run hopefully through the end of 25, peaking out end of 25, 26. So it's so early, people.
Pump.
Yeah. And I would say it's early because it's still not all over the news and Twitter.
Yeah.
Give it another month
agree.
or so. And then I think your dad's going to ask you how to download Coinbase and invest probably.
Yeah, exactly. That's when when everybody starts asking about it.
Yeah.
When what they call it, Main Street, the Main Street investors start talking about it again, and it starts pumping in the news. That's when you're too late. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, literally. I mean, it is. It really is.
That's why you got to come to this show. We're giving you on the forefront of where you need to go. But we like where the numbers are headed, and we're doing a little special on the show now. We're going to be bringing in specialists to talk and give segments on specific topics. That's why we went straight to the source to talk about tariffs. What is the impact of the pause? How should business be thinking about it? Because if we're taking the BS out of business, it ain't about the headlines. It's about how you should be reacting as a business. That's why we went to Arjun Singh. He is a best-selling author. And let's get to that segment right here. Hey guys, a little special segment here on Right About Now, our weekly business news. We are trying to take things topical for you guys. And look, we're always cutting through the BS. We're trying to get down to what matters for business today, right about now. That's why we've gone right to the source. He is the author of Competitive Success, Winning Strategies with Corporate War Games. It's an Amazon bestseller, Forbes top 10 business book of 2024. It is Arjun Singh. What's up, Arjun?
How you doing, Ryan? Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. Appreciate you jumping in on this segment on tariffs. I my eyes kind of start glossing over. I'm like tariff up, tariff down, all these things, and I can't keep up with it. So I'm glad we can bring you on to tell us what we need to be thinking about. What's the most latest news? Let's maybe break down the headlines of exactly what's happened in the last week. And then we'll key in on some specific opportunities, challenges, threats for business.
Great. I think you nailed it, right? There's a lot of stuff that's going on in terms of the tariffs. There's been an agreement between the U.S. and China in principle to have, tariff coming down. The U.K. has been talking to the U.S. as well. India is also falling in there. So one by one, what's interesting is all the countries are now open to a dialogue after really playing a little bit of a game of chicken to kind of figure out whether it's real or not. So it's coming down. Now, how quickly it gets resolved, we don't know. No one knows. And that's where you have to, as a business owner, prepare for the future. And the whole notion is you hope for the best, but you prepare for the worst. And there's a few principles to kind of think about as you start doing that.
Yeah, Arjun, I think you nailed it. Prepare for the worst. Hope is not a strategy.
Hope is not a strategy.
I wish I had created that saying, but it's so true. I think about it all the time because some people will just kind of hope, it'll all work out. Well, it might, but you need to prepare. And that's what we're trying to do, trying to make action items here from the show. I mean, let me ask you this, Arjun, in your opinion and understanding this probably at a deeper level than me and probably even a lot of our listeners. Ultimately, I think we've said on the show, tariff wars aren't good for anyone. It's a strategy, like it, love it or hate it, by the current administration. It's a strategy that's proving to be somewhat effective. We'll see where it lands. The jury is out on all of that for the long haul. But again, you can't argue that it's brought people to the table. But ultimately, in that game of chicken, is the U.S. in a power position?
The U.S. is. If you look at the global economy, the U.S. is the largest economy in the world. It has the largest influence in so many different business spaces, right? So you're talking about oil and gas, aviation, technology, right? It is the leader there. And for countries to ignore the United States, it's a death wish for them. So they do have to negotiate. The question is, how quickly are they looking to get a deal? There's already evidence that's coming out that shipping from China has been in the decline the last few weeks. Production as well. There's been a lot of cover-ups in terms of, how idle the actual production facilities is. And China's not the only one. There's other players that have a lot at stake there. So what the United States decides has a significant impact on the global economy.
It seems like, for better or worse, it's really trying to keep all the political slant out of this, to keep it really like just pointed towards the impact. It does peripherally feel from an independent, I think if you watch my show, you can tell where I lean at times on policy, but as an independent, it has felt the last 4 years, 5 years. That America, I'm not saying we need to be arrogant. We don't need to be arrogant, but we do need to be acknowledged for our place in the global economy. And at times it feels like we've sort of, we're just little America ready to play nice, and that's great and all. But I do like that it feels like we're trying to take our proper seat in the pecking order.
Yeah. I think the word is acknowledge our place, right? And also to be able to have the influence that we have so far, right?
Yeah.
The United States has a huge influence in the global economy. It's been in a certain structure so far. And just to be able to push that agenda forward is something that the administration's doing. Ultimately, depending on where it nets out, it's going to have a huge impact on the country. If you look at the news from last night, right, with the high-level trip to the Middle East, there's already trillions, and not even with a B, we're talking with a T, right? Trillions of dollars of implications to U.S. businesses in terms of aviation, defense contracts, and other pledges that Saudi Arabia and some of the other countries have done. And that, in my mind, is just the starting point. I think it's only going to accelerate from this point onwards, because as the world starts seeing the deals that the U.S. is doing with China, with India, with the Middle East, with the UK, others are going to start following.
Yeah. It is a little bit of a breath of fresh air that we are, some people don't like the going at government like business, but it is business. Isn't it, Arjun? This is the business at the highest level.
It is. And, it's interesting. And there's certain countries that actually view it that way, right? So I've done a lot of work in Singapore. I've done work in Dubai as well. You go talk to the government there, it's like walking into a business. The Singaporean government offices, they look like a world-class business. They sit down, they negotiate, they strike a deal, and then they move on, right? And I think we can take a lot of cues from like these different countries out there. Yeah, it is exactly like a business, and it should be run like that.
Yeah. All right, let's talk action. How should businesses be preparing? We've got a 90-day kind of whatever you want to call it, pause, set it to the side. Let's all be nice. Let's figure it out for the long term. I want to talk about I know you probably don't like to predict, but I'm going to ask you to predict in a minute. But for now, what should businesses be doing with what's happening?
I think any prudent business at this point, recognizing you've got about 90 days to figure this out, you should be doing wargaming, which is what my book's about. So you basically role play different stakeholders in the marketplace. You do scenario planning as well. So I'll give you examples, right? So for a lot of companies and businesses that are doing products, right? You've got supply chains. You got to think about supply chains, realignment. Like, where do you start sourcing products from? Apple has already been proactive, and they're shifting all their production of iPhones from China to India, recognizing what's going on. I think that's step one, is to really look at your operations and look at where you may be the most exposed, and build a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, right? So what if this happens? And work through scenarios such as like, hey, what if our supply chains are suddenly, impacted by 100% tariffs or more? What do we do? Where do we kind of move our production to? How quickly can we do that, right? And then it kind of gets into other issues. You've got pricing and profit margin erosion, right? So there's an element that's there. What if there are retaliatory tariffs or export challenges that you have? And then ultimately, that will cascade down into workforce. Like, how does this affect, your workforce? And I think one of the big other issues to really think about is, okay, what would you do from a cost pass-through perspective, right? So if you do end up with tariffs on your production, how do you pass those costs to your customers, or do you not? And do you blame the tariffs or not? There's already been some backlash. I think Amazon had some plans, and others as well, like talking about like a tariff fee as well, right? So I think there's a multitude of dimensions to explore for businesses. I think this is the time to do it. Look at those varieties that are there, wargame this situation, and build a plan for situations that may occur, which we don't know if they will or not.
Yeah. If you're someone's listening, Arjun, and maybe they don't sell product and it's not as obvious of these tariffs impact me, or I'm not worried about tariffs. Like, tell me what you would tell that business person about how they should be thinking about this, or should they be so flippant that it's not going to impact them?
Oh, you know what? Even if you're not directly impacted by the tariffs, you will be indirectly, and that's the part to really think about. Now, the tariffs could actually be a positive for a lot of businesses as well, right? So it's not all negative as well. So when this realignment happens, it may open up opportunities for exporting to certain areas. Certain components might become a lot cheaper. So a lot of companies, if you're getting components from your local distributors, they might be getting it from somewhere else, right? So it has indirect effects on there, and that's part of the whole process of understanding what that would look like, right? So what's your best case? What's your worst case? What's your base case? It's going to have an effect, and some of it actually I think will be a positive for everyone.
Do you think this will bring back manufacturing to the U.S. ultimately? Can that genie go back in the bottle?
I think it will, but I think it's going to be in a very different form to what manufacturing was previously, right? So low value manufacturing in the last few decades went offshore, right? Because then the U.S. focused on other things. I think there'll be an element of a lot more made in the USA. I think, but the way that it's going to be done is going to be different. It may be automated. There may be a huge element of technology and AI, and that's an area where the U.S. is at the forefront. U.S. technology is unsurpassed by anyone, right? And so when you start looking at automated manufacturing, right? So, in a traditional factory, like 40 years ago, if you had to produce something and you needed 100 workers, you may only need 5 now, but it's 5 American jobs in conjunction with technology. And guess what? That technology is coming from the US as well. And so it kind of cascades down into not only just one operation, but a multitude of these operations.
I love it. Great insight there, especially on the automation and AI. That is having a tremendous impact. And anyone that's not keeping their eyes wide open with that is got their head in the sand. Another story for another day. But talk to me as we finish up here, Arjun, like about predictions, or what are the tea leaves telling you how this will play out as best you know how? No one's going to go back and play your video and go, oh, you didn't know, some unforeseen thing. And I know how the prognostication game works. I've had it work for me and against me. But talk to me about how you see this playing out.
If the stock market from yesterday and day before is any indication, right? I think there's going to be bright times ahead. One scenario is that the U.S. starts having these tariff negotiations very quickly, and then they're concluded very quickly. So you'll start seeing like rebalancing in terms of trade and those different pieces, and you'll start having like stability very, very quickly. I think that's one kind of area. I think the other one is that it may drag on with certain countries a little bit longer than others, and that's going to be a rebalancing in terms of the United States dealing with those countries or not, right? But I think at the end of the day, if you look at the bargaining chips, they're really on the United States side, right? In terms of resources, capital, access to the United States market, right? All those different pieces. For any country to ignore that, it's going to be a huge issue there, right? So I think it's a case of like whether it gets quickly resolved or a little bit it drags on for a little bit longer. That's the little bit of an unknown, but I do see these things settling down in the next couple of months.
I'm going to ask you a question that will strike from the record and not air if it's out of your knowledge base, because it's completely random, but it just made me think of it because, thinking about China and stuff.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with TikTok? Any perspective there?
Oh, in the United States? I mean, TikTok has very valuable technology, right? So if you look at,
but is ultimately they're going to have to sell? Is that going to have to? I mean, he's kind of drawn the line in the sand. They've extended it a couple times. It's like Yeah,
I think that's one thing. Like both parties in the United States agree on that the Chinese control has to go away. So to survive in the United States, they're going to have to sell. Now, what form it takes, with different people trying to take it on. Amazon was interested in others as well. I mean, they've got a valuable algorithm that's very sticky with consumers. If they want freedom to operate in the United States, they will have to sell.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think Donald's going to back off that ultimately. And I don't think we should, and it's too much data. But they do have a great product. That algorithm is crazy for knowing what we're thinking. We want to watch at all times. I have to stay away from that rabbit hole sometimes. Arjun, he is the author of Competitive Success, Winning Strategies with Corporate War Games. You need to go check that out. You can buy that on Amazon. Is that right, Arjun?
That's right.
Where else can people keep up with everything that you're doing, learn more about you, etc.?
Just check me out on LinkedIn. It's very easy to find. Just search for Arjun Singh. You'll find there. Follow me. Add me on LinkedIn, and that's where you'll see a lot of my updates there.
Great. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Ryan, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hey, guys, we're keeping it real with you. Real, raw, always the BS out of the business here. Thanks to Arjun for coming on the show. We really appreciate Arjun for coming on, breaking down the tariffs, what it means for business, how you should be responding. And look, like we said, hope is not a strategy. You need to be game planning different scenarios because it will have an impact. But we like where it's headed. The news is positive, which is what we like. Chris, we're keeping it. Hey, we're going to be real about it, but we're not going to go, down in the dumps on every single story because most of this is positive news. We've been telling you to hold on and stop watching the day trades, every single day article, insight that's doom and gloom and slanted. But a few announcements on the marketing and digital front from the digital advertisers, new fronts, which is essentially where people align their budgets to like available media. Like they did this in newspaper a long time ago. It's an old thing, but basically where digital media platforms pitch new content and ad tech to platforms, and also where they'll get commitments on budgets from some of the bigger brands. Some of the highlights: Yahoo Sports announced a network with Rich Kleiman to anchor a push into premium sports storytelling, emphasizing a combination of original video content with automated ad buying tools. You're going to start to see this, the proliferation of automation, speed, creative, all these things are changing fast. The ability to have personalized content within the ads, to make it change fast, to get high level impressions, personalized, which is new. Snap has new ad tools, sponsored snaps in chat, promoted places, and AI smart campaigns. And it's interesting when they said this, Chris, I thought about this, how easy it would be. And I thought of this idea, I was thinking like for the Radcast Network, I'm always thinking, hey, we're a publisher too. So we're like thinking, how can we help our advertisers and help ourselves? We're getting impressions, how we do it. Like when you post a story, obviously you could post a story where it's, you're promoting a product, right? Sponsored story where it's content. But what if just that vertical screen, the lower third had an ad on it? It's your content, Chris working out, but the lower third was like a dynamic ad. Mm-hmm. That's coming. And if it's not Instagram, I just gave you $1 billion idea. But, sponsored stories that aren't like the entire story. It's still your content, but they're getting a little eye candy, getting some awareness on there. I think that's not as, as annoying as certain things might be. Like you're still getting your original content for 3/4 of it. You'd be willing to get paid for that, wouldn't you?
I'd do it, yeah. If I'm in the gym, like I don't care if part of the bottom banner is a company's logo. Like, fine. If I'm wearing their clothes or whatever, like, yeah, it's probably to some people that's more appealing than talking. Like,
yeah, like I would think that's less intrusive than if you're promoting
if I'm like, hey, feel these stretchy shorts. These are the best workout shorts. Or if I'm just cool. Everyone's different, right? Some people gravitate to that. Some people want a cool song and a good workout, and they'll buy from that,
Yeah. But you could totally see that coming. Dynamic ads on the story content itself. I could actually see them doing that and not sharing it with you or I, like with the, like, hey, you're using our platform for free. Your stories are going to have little banners on them. Mm-hmm. You can't really say much if they decided to do that. So maybe we need to create that first, Chris. We should sell that for Vibe Science. Every little placement, you can get your banner on there. Look, hey, Chris and I run multiple businesses. We brainstorm business here on the show. That is real, no BS business talk. I like it. Get a little logo placement anywhere on Ryan or Chris's feeds.
Hit me up.
Yeah, exactly. Got all kinds of new brands. And I'm serious. Hey, look. Chris and I are as raw and real as it gets. We're in multiple companies. Chris has one of the most amazing tech combined with doctors and laboratories. Like, he's got it all. And look, we do multiple shows. So again, we'd love to partner with you on any of our programming. So keep that in mind. The other thing, New York Times lifestyle monetization spotlighted non-news verticals like games, cooking, and sports to attract ad dollars. New York Times Games boasts daily users surpassing White Lotus finale viewership, whatever that means. I mean, I know what White Lotus is, the show.
Yeah, but it's just a weird way to compare numbers.
I know. I'm like,
to make it like sound big, but without actually stating any numbers.
That's what I'm thinking.
Everyone's like, White Lotus, we know that. Must have been big.
Yeah, must have been big. This sounds like a way that New York Times just want to get in this ad, but I'm not really hearing much innovation. So,
yeah.
AI-driven ad planning everywhere signals a shift towards faster, smarter campaign execution. Yes, hopefully. We'll see about that. So lots of digital fronts. I mean, related to that, I'm going to get to this because it's semi-related. We're talking platforms and things. ESPN officially announced its new flagship streaming service, simply named ESPN.
I like it, man.
I like it. It kind of rolls,
They're forward-looking. They're like, hey, TV's dead. This is the new SPN. Let's not confuse people.
Yeah. Okay.
How many times has HBO Plus renamed themselves? I don't even know what it's called now. It was like HBO Go, HBO Plus.
Yep. They had been calling themselves the new flagship. So now there's power in our name and there's trust in our name. Yeah. You didn't need to change it. It's the sports network.
Yeah.
We get it. There's going to be 2 subscription tiers, unlimited plan, $29.99 a month, or $45.99 bundled with Disney Plus and Hulu. Select plan is $11.99. It's mirroring the current ESPN Plus content, so less content. But Chris, this is the future. Cable is slowly the Wicked Witch from is it the West or the East? I can't remember. The one that melts.
The West.
The West. The Wicked Witch from the West. I'm melting. This is cable. Like the swan song, this violin's playing. Like literally, because you start stripping out the content that you want from cable. Because cable's built on 400 channels, 390 you don't watch. And now these streaming platforms, apps, whatever you want to call it, where you watch the content and you beam it where you want, whether it's your TV, your phone, your tablet. And this is where it's going. And all of ESPN contents will be there. It's coming fast. And I'm here for it, though. I'm not sure it's going to be as cheap as cable is. Once you add up the 5 things you want, you're paying $200 probably.
Yep.
But
it's just like Spirit Airlines. But you have that a la carte, bro.
For the seatbelt, we've got $54. You might want to get that one. We'd recommend the seatbelt.
Yeah. Ends up being the same at the end of the day that it would have been United Airlines or whatever else you fly,
$14.99 for the oxygen mask. It's rare that you would need it, but if you do, you might want to plan ahead. It's coming to that, literally in the middle of like a diving plane, it's going to be a button where you have to put your fingerprint to charge your credit card for an air mask or something. Flotation device. $14.99. Yeah. I'm dying. Got to get it.
Yeah.
Hey, got to charge for that shit, Yeah. Hate the player, hate the game. Increased college football and NFL games will be on the platform. The move positions Disney, which owns ESPN, to compete with Netflix, Prime Sports, and Max in the sports streaming space. Comes as Disney adapts to cord-cutting trends, impacting traditional TV. Yeah, it is. Cord cutting. I haven't heard that in a while. I cord cut a long time ago. Umbilical cord. You can now book a chef or a personal trainer while traveling with Airbnb. I like this. Sounds bougie. Airbnb has redesigned its app to further its goal of becoming an end-to-end travel app. The redesign introduces a new Airbnb services section where users can book chefs, personal trainers, masseuses, photographers, hair and makeup artists, and clowns. I made up that last one, but
I'm sure it'll be on there.
Anything you want, anything at all here on the Airbnb app. I'm the voice of the Airbnb services app. Services are available in 10 categories. They'll launch in 100 cities. The move could better compete with hotels and all their traveling platforms like Expedia. I mean, this is a no-brainer, right? I mean,
natural.
Yes, natural fit, totally integrated in with your experience. I want a personal, chef that does turn down service and feeds me bonbons.
Leaves them on the pillow for you.
Yeah, exactly. I want those mints on my pillow at night. Said they've had slower booking growth this month at Airbnb. It's dealt with lawsuits and government restrictions. Stocks down 10% over year. Well, maybe this will give them a little pep in their step. Got to add those add-ons. I need that masseuse. I need that chef.
Yeah.
Hopefully affordable.
Makes sense. I could see it. I mean, buddy last week told me he Airbnb'd a house on the beach and he literally was talking about wanting a chef. So I could see people will take use of this. I'm still more of a hotel guy myself.
Yeah. A lot of convenience for the hotel. But I will say doing themed, adding a little, hey, coming down for a party. Well, okay, we got your dinner. We're going to do your birthday cake.
photographer,
everything to do for whatever that event or the reason. I mean, people travel usually for a reason. I mean, if it's a business trip, fine. Then have business, like, okay, a massage when you get in from your airplane travel. Then like have themed specific outings and tie the services to that. So hopefully they're going to think through all that. Pope Leo trading card sets Tops Now's record. We had a Pope trading card. It's a little foreshadowing to if you're watching the YouTube, which you should be, you see the plethora of trading card paraphernalia and otherwise here on the set right about now. And then these lovely hats from Ludex. Brian Ludex sent those. Great guy, great app. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Pope Leo sold 133,000 copies of a trading card that they printed kind of on demand, I think, with Tops Now. I mean, I guess there is a trading card for everything. I actually have my own personal trading card, Chris, right there. You probably can't quite see that, but it's...
Got to zoom in on that.
The downtown. But the Pope, I don't know if I want a Pope trading card, but I'm not Catholic either, so I don't know. It's but not surprising. It's more pointing to the trend that we all know, that people like those collectibles. They like the physical nature of it. Yes, tangible. I like that name. I like the word tangible. It's tangible. Exactly. You can feel it. You can count it. You can smell it. They've got a white smoke variant. Is the most expensive one. Sold for $195. They got so many variants of these things. The Leaf Trading Cards also released Pope Leo cards at $9.99 with themed backgrounds. This is interesting, Chris. Here's the themed backgrounds for the Pope Leo cards. Deep dish pizza, Chicago hot dog, snow, and skyline views.
How Chicago of them.
What's that?
So Chicago of them.
I know. So, yeah, nothing like the Pope with a deep dish pizza background. I'm in. Hey, there's a collectible for everyone. That's the one thing you're going to get out of this series. There's a trading card for everyone. Finally today, Apple to support brain implant control of its devices. Apple is entering the brain computer interface space, aiming to let users control iPhones and other devices using neural signals. The tech could transform accessibility for people with spinal cord injuries or ALS who cannot use their hands. Apple is prepared for a future where FDA-approved implants like Elon Musk's Neuralink or others become widely available. I mean, this is cool, and it's crazy. I have a hard time believing that we aren't going to somehow heal quadriplegics or something with this. Yeah. If we can get the brain cell, like freaking a chip telling the brain what to do, it's going to be hard. It's hard not to fathom that will come one day.
I think it's going to come in the next 5 years.
Yeah, it seems like we're right on the precipice of it. And this is where, like love or hate, Elon Musk, he's right in the center of a lot of key things. Going to space, this next frontier, which is space. Neuralink, the brain connection to healing and doing these different things. Electric cars and batteries that have gotten better. And all again, he's there right in the middle of it all. And he's over in Saudi Arabia selling some robots. Optimus Prime. Yeah. It's so funny. He absolutely grew up like when I did in the age I did. He used all these terms that are kind of like quasi back in the day. The Transformers, Optimus robot. It's not coming for any jobs.
Yeah, I know, right?
And you got the taxi driving around. You saw them again this week, didn't you?
They're everywhere. Like I probably see 10 a day.
They're self-driving, right?
No, they're rolling around with guys in them with laptops. Like they're still probably working out the kinks, before
I bet, they're probably remote controlling it from right there. Or it might be
they
in
might
the
just
car.
be sitting because I've seen, like I've been watching my dog and there's sensors all over it. And it's almost like when I've kind of been close to the road, I can almost see it like break. But it's not like it's a human. It's like a very awkward, like subtle, jerky movement kind of.
Yep.
But yeah, man, they're everywhere, bro. The robots are coming.
They're coming. I'll tell you what's coming next week, starting on Tuesday. The Trading Card Series is here. Our first guest, Brian Ludden. He is the CEO of LUDX, the best app for scanning your card, getting the values, and keeping up with your collection. Go check that on the App Store. We've got the goodies here. We got a big lineup. Gary V's coming on next week. He's going to be part of the series talking about V Friends. The Gary V. Yes, we got the biggest seller, retailer in South Carolina coming on, my friend, Matty Rich. And then we've got Jeremy Eisenberg, who is an SI contributor and just a sports guru, marketing badass, and some heavy hitters, some Netflix special guys. We've got some big names coming. They all want to get in on this trading card series because once you're in, it's hard to get out. You get that pack fever, man. We got it right here. All this stuff. We're going to do some giveaways. We're going to have fun. And again, got the Rad Collective started. BreakingRad.com. Go check that out. It's got all of my kids' stuff, all of their cards. We're going to be on ESPN, not ESPN, excuse me, eBay Live in about 30 days doing breaks and different things like that. So it's going to be a fun series. The business is legit. It's $59 billion industry by 2027. $59 billion. This is serious business. Serious business. And again, the Pope's got a trading card, then you need a trading card. Everybody should have their own trading card, Chris. We're going to get the Hanson special.
Let's get it.
101 autograph. Vertical, white smoke, pizza dish background.
Do it.
All the favorites. Chris, any final thoughts today?
Everyone have a great weekend. Stay hydrated. It's getting hot out there.
Yeah, it is. It is getting hot. Getting hot in here. Getting hot on the Real American Business Show. That is right about now. Go to ryanisright.com. Find the highlight clips, all the links to the trading card series, highlights, anything and everything that we talk about on the show is there at Ryan is Right. Chris Proby Hansen is on Instagram. Go check it out. Motivational quotes, business tips, anything you need. Chris has got it for you. We appreciate him, as always, as a contributor to this show, and we appreciate you for making us number one. We'll see you next time on Right About Now.
This has been Right About Now with Ryan Alford, a Radcast Network production. Visit ryanisright.com for full audio and video versions of the show or to inquire about sponsorship opportunities. Thanks for listening. This is Right About Now with Ryan Alford, a Radcast Network production. We are the #1 business show on the planet with over 1 million downloads a month. Taking the BS out of business for over 6 years and over 400 episodes. You ready to start snapping necks and cashing checks? Well, it starts right about now.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Right About Now here on Friday, May 16th. It is your weekly business news with Ryan and Chris Hansen down in Miami. What's up, Chris?
What's up, Brian? How are you, bro?
I'm good. Taking the BS out of business, one story at a time. You can pay attention, make yourself go crazy on CNN or Fox all week, or you just come to Right About Now and we break it down to what you really need to care about. Like no right, no left, just straight facts. The business cycle has been heavily related to the administration this week, given all of the tariff talk. We've been talking about it, and finally some actions happen.